Good morning, everyone. Sorry, just caught me mid slurp. How the devil are you doing this fine day? Over to Instagram straight away. Digger Dave, David Hearn says, "Good morning, Mark, and happy New Year. Happy New Year to you as well, my friend. Good to see you here. Hope all is well in your part of the world." For some reason, I've got a weird bit of stuff going on my screen. Let's have a look. Loads and loads of people turned up very early. In fact, Dan Cullen was here even before the show started. That was at 9:58. Good morning, he says. Breakfast show host, and guess how the bejesus are you? Firing on all cylinders this morning, Dan. Giving off sparks, I am. And there's Peter McKenna saying, "Morning, Mandangle." I think that's aimed at our friend Dan. And he's also saying, "Morning, all." Who else have we got here? Morning, peeps from Jim Turner. Morning, Jim. Thank you very much indeed for being here. Loads and loads to get through today. Chris Ford says, "Good day to you all." No sarcasm today, Chris. Are you okay? And apparently Dan Cullen is ready to local unload, boys. I think that's probably lock and load. And Peter McKenna says, "We might be ready to lock and load, but we aren't all local." Yes, thank you very much for yes. The grammar police are out in force. Good morning, everyone. How the devil are you doing? Nick Brooks Group just joined us over on Instagram. Loads and loads to get through. But before we get to any of that, I very nearly wore my brand new West Ham shirt this morning. Nearly. My eldest daughter bought me a new West Ham shirt for my Christmas present, which I'm absolutely delighted with. It's a mix of the old and the new. It'll get an outing at some point. But yes, I was going to wear it today because West Ham beat Fulham 3-2 last night. But then I watched the highlights. We were quite lucky to get away with it. So I decided probably best not. We need the grammar police when Dan's around, Mark, says Peter McKenna. Yes. And when I'm around, as you're about to find out. So, yes, lots and lots to get through. What have we got? Loads of stuff. But we're going to be talking about hydrogen at the end of the show. So if you're kind of pinning your hopes on a hydrogen future, you might like to stick around for that. So without further ado, let me roll the intro, post the question of the day, and get this show on the road. Yeah, somebody just asked me over on Instagram about the cup I was drinking from. I don't know if you can see it, but there is actually a Bobcat logo on there. Not sure how well that's visualizing, but there you are. Bobcat, thank you very much indeed for that. It is Wednesday, the 15th of January. Welcome to the Breakfast Show. I am your host, Mark Anthony, the Walrus of Demolition. In today's show, Sandvik wheels out a brand new crusher. Volvo lays out its plans for the future. Volvo's plans for the future are oddly like our plans for the future, actually. We have a happy Hitachi customer, and we're looking even further ahead to Bauma 2025. Plus, as I've already indicated in my morning monologue today, I'm asking, is hydrogen the fuel of is it the future of construction fuel, or is it a false dawn? Yes, a false dawn. Or a premature dawn. You'll see. We'll get to all of that. But before we get to all of that, we do have today's mystery machine to decipher, which looks, well, I'll show you in just a second. Right, okay, so I'll come back to the question of the day in just a moment. But Jim Turner, I'm not aware of that one. We'll come back to it in just a moment. But yes, so mystery machine today. Now, I've taken a slight liberty today in that I have changed the colour of the machine. Yeah, because I wanted to use the picture, but I thought the colour might just be a giveaway. So let me show you what you're working with. Yeah, it's a bit of pale blue there, which is not real. I did that. If anybody's got any clues on that. Ken Hatcher just pitched up, says, "Good morning. He's got the fog. I was watching yesterday's show then." What, because you couldn't see through the fog? How bad is the fog in Wales when you can't actually see what's going on your screen? Yes, question of the day. Let me remind you of the question of the day. I'll take that away very quickly, and I'll remind you of the question of the day, and then I'll get into what other people have said. Yep, there you are. That's our question of the day, and it is, do you have a favourite movie quote? Now, personally, my personal favourite would probably be, we're going to need a bigger boat from Jaws, and I do use that fairly regularly. I'm always on the lookout, however, for an opportunity to say, never rub another man's rhubarb, like Jack Nicholson's Joker. But what about you? Now, we do have some answers on this. We've got... Peter McKenna says, Terminator, I'll be back because it's the only one I can remember. Not good at remembering shit from TV or film. Can watch stuff multiple times and not remember half of it. And yeah, I wouldn't say I'm the opposite, but I do have a bit of a thing for quotes. Like, you know, anyone remember the monologue that Rutger Hauer's replicant does in Blade Runner? I can recite that. And I've no idea why. Blade Runner's not a particularly favourite film, but I can do that. Maybe I will. Jim Turner says, Funk the Grandma Polish. Or Funk the Grandma Polish, possibly. I don't know. What is that from? I have no idea. Chris Will says, I'll be back, and I love the smell of napalm in the morning. Ah, yes. Apocalypse Now. Robert Duvall, if I remember rightly. What do we got? Chris Ford says, frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn, which pretty much sums up my approach to life, to be honest. What, you took a liberty? Not sure. It was in response to Peter's grammar police. That will make sense now. Don't piss down my back and tell me it's raining. What movie is that from? I like the idea of that. Yes. Do you punk? Yes. There's another one. Yeah. Did he fire 5 shots or 6? In all this excitement, frankly, I've forgotten myself. But given that this is a Magnum 44, the most powerful handgun in the world, and could probably take your head clean off, you got to ask yourself a question. Do I feel lucky? Well, do you, punk? See? Things like that just stick in my head. I've no idea why. Peter McKenna says, put him up. I'm only a poor little lion. That's Wizard of Oz. Yeah. Hey, dog, you see the size of that chicken? Young Guns. Don't remember that one. Remember Young Guns? Don't remember that, though. That's from the outlaw Josie Wales. No. See, we're all erring towards Clint Eastwood this morning, apparently. But yes, well done. What are we doing? I've got lost in movie memorabilia. Yes, Mystery Machine. There we are. So somebody has said, Peter McKenna reckons it's a loading shovel. He's right, but that's not what we're after. We're after a make and a model, if you would be so kind. There's a little bit more, which kind of proves exactly what Peter was saying, but we would like a make and a model. And don't be fooled by the colour. That's not real. I've done that. I'll take that away because we do need to crack on. And we're going to crack on basically with the start of the news. So it looks like this. Partnership housing specialist Vistry has announced a significant restructuring of its operational framework, consolidating its divisions from 6 to 3, following a £165 million financial hit last year. This loss stemmed from underestimated build cost within its southern division. The new streamlined structure aims to shorten reporting lines and enhance CEO Greg Fitzgerald's direct involvement with the business. Each of the 3 new larger divisions will be led by newly promoted executive chairs who will each report directly to Fitzgerald. These executive chairs will be supported by a team of newly appointed divisional commercial directors, operational directors, and finance directors, all operating under the consolidated structure. Despite these changes, Vistry will maintain its 26 operating regions. In a year-end trading statement, Fitzgerald highlighted the firm's efforts to tighten procedures around monthly site cost reviews and enhance commercial assurance. A significant amount of work has been done to understand and address the issues faced in the former Southern Division, he said. Fitzgerald expressed confidence in the new leadership's ability to stabilise the affected regions in 2025. With new operational leadership in place, we're confident we will make rapid progress in stabilising the affected regions within this business area in 2025, he stated. However, the firm still faces challenges with an accumulation of work in progress due to delayed completions and lower than expected sales rates, which have led to a 17% rise in average month-end net debt, which now stands at £535 million. And on a lighter note, tilt rotator and quick coupler specialist Steelrist is celebrating 20 years in business this year. The company was born in a garage in the north of Sweden, but it's grown to become a global leader in its field. CEO Stefan Stockhaus says, "I'm extremely proud of what our team has accomplished since Steelrist was founded, and the 20-year anniversary will be highlighted throughout 2025. You can expect those anniversary celebrations to be in full swing at Bauma in April." Going back to movie, just very quickly, many happy returns to Steelrist. I don't know exactly what date it was founded on, but yeah, congratulations, 20 years, fantastic. Apologies for the sound glitch at the beginning of that as well. I don't know what happened there. Shouldn't have happened, but it did. Chris Ford says, "Love a good quote. There's so many, but I'll have what she's having." Yes, when Harry met Sally. Now, Jim Turner has brought up Tombstone. The quote that makes my face wet is, "I don't." Short and sweet, but so powerful from Tombstone. Tombstone is it's a phenomenal film anyway. One of my favourite films of all time, and certainly one of the best Westerns of all time, filled with quotes like, "I'll turn your head into a canoe," or my personal favourite, "I'll be your huckleberry." Val Kilmer, did Val Kilmer get an Oscar for that? If he didn't, he was robbed. Val Kilmer in Tombstone was absolutely magnificent. Have we had any more guesses on the Mystery Machine? We have. Let me take Jim off the screen for just a moment. There is the Mystery Machine, and we've got Peter McKenna reckons it could be a New Holland W170D. It is not. He's also going with the SANY SW956E. It's not one of those. Peter's also going with the JCB 457WHT. Nope, not one of those. Mystery Machine Hitachi ZW220 from Chris Ford. It's not one of those either. See, the colour is it can throw you off, can't it? There you are. There's a little bit of back end, as the actress probably never said to the bishop. If that helps, let us know. We'll be back to all of that in just a moment. But first, we've got a brand spanking new crusher coming up from the fine folks at Sandvik. So stick around.
If you are enjoying this episode, please consider supporting the show. You can leave us a tip at buymeacoffee.com/demolition news.
Yeah, crushers. We don't feature crushers very often, but when Sandvik launch one, it's well worth having a look at, particularly when it comes in on wheels. Have a look.
Sandvik mobile crushers and screens is redefining the next generation of fully electric wheeled crushers. Ideal for the quarrying and recycling industries, the UJ313 wheel jaw crusher is electrically powered for a more sustainable future. Benefit from lower operational costs, decreased carbon emissions, and quieter operation, enhancing workplace safety and comfort. With its robust design and advanced electric drive system, the UJ313 delivers optimal performance in eco-efficient rock processing. Fully assembled on a single trailer frame and mounted on a triple-axle bogie, the UJ313 ensures ease of transport and operational readiness once on site. At its core lies the Sandvik CJ211 jaw crusher, renowned for its exceptional reliability. The large chamber opening ensures continuous production with unrestricted material flow. Equipped with user-friendly systems, the UJ313 is engineered for high performance with minimal downtime. Service platforms provide safe access, reducing maintenance time and enhancing workplace safety. Enhance your operations with the UJ313. Where innovation meets efficiency.
What have we got here? Jim Turner saying, "I'm not really a Val Kilmer fan, but in Tombstone he played an absolute blinder. No one else could have done it any better." I totally agree. I'm with you on that. I didn't rate him in Top Gun, first or the second one. I thought he was pretty good in Heat. But I don't know what it was. I don't know whether he just found his groove when it came to Tombstone. Yeah, Val Kilmer in Tombstone. Trying to remember the name of the he was Doc Holliday, wasn't he? Yeah, just struggling for the name for a minute. Mystery Machine, we're going for Lugong 856HE, says Peter McKenna. It's not, and it's not a Lugong 848H either. It's not a Lugong of any description. Let me show you a smidge more. There you are. Does that help at all? I'm thinking it probably doesn't, but keep the guesses coming. Yeah, what we got coming next? Yeah, we're going to be able to... Those fine folks at Volvo are kind of laying out their stall for the years ahead. Be back after this. Yeah, we'll go over to Volvo in just a second, but got a bit more on this. Jim Turner reckons it could be a John Deere. It's not. Dan Cullen reckons it could be a Lugong 835H. It's not a Lugong 835H. In fact, it's not a Lugong at all. Peter McKenna reckons it could be a JCB 409. It's not a 409. It's not a JCB at all. Chris Ford is not right, but he says Volvo 180G, which is a perfect introduction to the fact that we've got a Volvo film coming up for you right about now.
At the heart of Volvo construction equipment lies a commitment to people, sustainability, innovation, and a rich history of pioneering progress. We have been at the forefront of innovations since we were founded in 1832. We empower individuals worldwide, valuing their skills, passions, and diverse perspective with a purpose to build a world we want to live in. Today, we have a network in every major market, stretching across 180 markets around the globe. As a global leader in construction solutions, we have a responsibility to continuously strive to find new, better, and sustainable ways of working by leading the transformation with premium products and services that combine business outcomes with care for people and planet for a better tomorrow. Through sustainable development, innovation, diverse and ethical conduct, we aim to be a leader in sustainable site solutions to create a safer, cleaner, and more connected world. Together with our partners and customers, we fulfill promises, earning trust and advancing towards our shared vision with quality and safety at the center and with people in mind. Every day, we choose to act on that cause for our and future generations. Not just because we can, because we want to build the world we want to live in.
Isn't that lovely? Yeah, really enjoyed that. Loads and loads of guesses on our Mystery Machine. What have we got? We've got Dan Cullen reckons it could be a Shandong LG 930. It's not. It's not a Volvo L268. In fact, it's not a Volvo at all, which kind of negates both of those answers. Dan Cullen reckons a Develon SD300N. It's not one of those. It's also not a Develon DL200-7. Let me show you a bit more. There you are. And Christopher, going back to our question of the day, movie quotes. Another fine mess you've got me into. Obviously, Laurel and Hardy. That would be Oliver Hardy saying that. Turned out nice again. Is that George Formby? Is that George Formby? I think it is. I almost said George Foreman. It was a very different character, but let me know. Just to confirm, I think that is. We can stop the wheels. I can tell you we do have a winner. Second successive day. Dan Cullen says it's a Cat 980M, and you're damn tootin' it is a Cat 980M. Obviously, a very different color scheme. So let me show you what it looks like. There you are. I recoloured that, so forgive me if it's not exactly perfect. But let me put a DC against that and 3 points. So as it stands today, we have joint leaders. Joint leaders this month. Gary Muirhead is on 6 points. Dan Cullen is on 6 points. I'm on 6 points. And then we've got Steve Williamson and Chris Ford bringing up the rear on 3 points each. So well done, Dan. Congratulations on that. Well spotted. I might start to recolour these machines a bit more often, actually. Found out how to do it. Very easy. See if I can throw you off the track just a little bit. We're going to be back in just a moment with something from the fine folks at Hitachi. We're a happy customer.
Since the finance bill came into effect in April, the construction industry has seen a surge of fuel thefts. The rising cost of living has placed an additional risk of theft by employees and contractors, as well as opportunistic thieves. By using diesel dye and placing warnings of its use, you are sending a clear message that this is your fuel.
Just going to say a very quick good morning to Max Alberto Rojas Castro. I don't know who he is, but I like saying his name. Good morning to you, sir, or bom dia, or something. You get the idea. What do we got? Mick has just arrived. Good morning, Mick. Thank you very much indeed for being here. Dan Cullen says the battle is on. It most certainly is. Booking.com has just offered me a hotel room for virtually nothing. I don't know why I've got that. That's got nothing to do with the show whatsoever. So yes, Hitachi. Let's go and talk to a Hitachi customer, shall we?
Hi, Glenn Henry, owner-operator, GM Rig Groundworks, been in business 20 years. I specialise in drainage, concreting, foundations. We do subcontracting on house building sites. My relationship with Hitachi used equipment has been good. The salesman has been spot on. He's communicated well with me and he's given me what I wanted. My buying experience with Hitachi used equipment was simple and straightforward. Over the years, I've owned various Hitachi excavators from EX22 to the ZX130-7. I buy Hitachi machines because they're productive, reliable, never miss a beat. The -7s are dead comfortable inside in the cab, and the 270 cameras, brilliant. On my Hitachi used equipment, I've got Leica GPS and Safety Shield. Leica GPS, it saves time and money and makes us more efficient. And the Safety Shield is highly beneficial around busy sites. I would purchase Hitachi used equipment again because they're a good brand, they hold the money, and they have good resale value. And it comes with 6-month warranty. To make sure it doesn't miss a beat, I buy genuine Hitachi filters and parts from local depot. Overall, my experience with Hitachi used equipment and the salesman has been a positive one, and I'll use them again.
Particularly pleased with that film because it kind of ticks some of the boxes we've been talking about in the not too distant past. Obviously, he's gone for a used machine. We've been big fans of old being the new, but also owner-operator kitted his machine out with all the bells and whistles, which is kind of things we talk about right here on this show. Peter McKenna says, good Hitachi, good machines. I was surprised when Fox Brothers changed from Hitachi to Lugong. I wonder what the financial saving was in doing so. Not interested in new Hitachi machines. Too many buttons and switches and a bit underpowered, says Dan Cullen. Don't often hear dissenting voices about Hitachi excavators, but we have one in our midst. Everyone is entitled to their own opinion. That's the way it works. We've got one final bit. I don't know exactly how long away Bauma is, 3 months or thereabouts, but we've got a bit of a preview coming up. Just a second.
We do, I doubt it. We've got the energy, we'll tell you all about it.
Love the pronunciation on that. Tell you all about it. Sound Canadian. It's got nothing to do with anything else. Bauma themselves, the actual exhibition organisers, have produced their own film, which is kind of based on 2022, but looking ahead to 2025. This is what Bauma looks like. I can hardly wait. Really looking forward to Bauma this time around. So, obviously, I've just said we're all entitled to our own opinions. Dan Cullen has stated he's not a big fan of the Hitachi machines. Too many buttons and switches, bit underpowered, he says. Jim Turner, alternatively, says the Dash 7 is a good tool. I've no complaints. And then our friend Footy has just arrived, who says, personally, I think Hitachi are the best machines going. Hitachi is what I'd use as my yardstick against other brands. They are streaks ahead of the X series. See? And there are people that love the X series as well. Horses for courses and Now Sequoia has spoken, stuff like that. Mick says, came across a picture of an offside cab JCB. I think it was a 7, and the first one sold. If you can find the photograph, please send it to us. Love to see that, Mick. That pretty much wraps up the main part of this morning's show. I'm going to be rolling the outro in just a second before leaping gazelle-like over into my morning monologue. If you can't stick around for that, then do please stay safe. Look after yourself, your family, your friends, and your colleagues. I hope to see you again very soon. Obviously, we've just given you a bit of a preview of Bauma. Bauma, I'm expecting lots of talk about future fuels, including hydrogen. We'll be talking about that in just a second. So if you have the time and the inclination, I'll be back immediately after I've played this wee thing here. Hydrogen fuel is now widely touted as the demolition and construction industry's fuel of the future. A shining green beacon of hope on the horizon that will save us all from our collective diesel dependence. But is it really a viable alternative? Can we really rely upon its availability and its cost? And should we be putting off the adoption of electric power that is widely available today for the promise of a fuel that might be available tomorrow? So, is hydrogen really the answer? Will it arrive in time? Will it be affordable? Or is the demolition and construction industry putting all its eggs into a basket that is yet to be made? Those are the questions. The transition of demolition and construction equipment to hydrogen fuel in the short to medium term is fraught with challenges that cast doubt on its viability. While hydrogen is widely heralded as a clean alternative to fossil fuels, several critical factors impede its immediate adoption in the construction industry. A significant barrier to the widespread use of hydrogen-powered machinery is the current lack of refuelling infrastructure. The UK's hydrogen network is in its infancy, with National Gas with National Gas outlining plans to develop infrastructure capable of transmitting low-carbon hydrogen. However, those plans are long-term, aiming for a substantial development by 2050. Keep that date in mind because it's important. The UK has stated its plan to be a carbon-neutral country by 2050. A key part of that plan is to ban the sale of petrol and diesel vehicles by 2030. So, there will be a 20-year gap between the end of diesel and petrol vehicles and the switch-on of its expected long-term replacement. And if anybody is paying attention, that's a repeat of exactly what we've got with the closure of the UK's fossil fuel power stations long before their nuclear replacements are likely to come online. And, as we all know, that shortfall has left the nation facing the very real prospect of an energy shortfall. In the interim, the absence of a comprehensive hydrogen distribution network currently makes it impractical for construction sites to rely on hydrogen fuel, and it's likely to remain that way for some time. The production of green hydrogen, which is essential for reducing carbon emissions, remains costly. Labour's plans to double green hydrogen targets to 10 gigawatts by 2030 has been met with scepticism due to the significant financial investments required and the current economic climate. The high costs associated with green hydrogen production translate to increased operational expenses for construction companies, making the switch to hydrogen-powered equipment economically unfeasible in the short term. While manufacturers like JCB have developed hydrogen-powered machinery, such as their hydrogen combustion engine backhoe loader, these innovations are still in the prototype or early adoption stages. The performance, durability, and reliability of hydrogen-powered construction equipment under diverse and demanding site conditions still requires further validation. Additionally, the development of hydrogen fuel cells suitable for heavy machinery is ongoing, with concerns about efficiency and energy density yet to be fully addressed. Hydrogen, being highly flammable, poses safety risks that necessitate stringent handling and storage protocols. Construction Construction sites known for their dynamic and often hazardous environments would require significant modifications to safely incorporate hydrogen fuel. This includes specialised training for personnel and the implementation of new safety measures, adding yet more layers of complexity and cost to operations. The current market for hydrogen-powered construction equipment is undeveloped. In fact, it barely even exists. Manufacturers and suppliers are hesitant to invest heavily in hydrogen technology without clear and consistent demand signals. This creates a cyclical problem. The lack of market-ready equipment discourages infrastructure development, and the absence of the infrastructure deters potential adopters. This chicken and egg scenario hampers the momentum needed for hydrogen to become a mainstream fuel in construction. Battery electric machinery presents a more immediate and practical solution for reducing emissions in the construction sector. With the rapid advancement of battery technology and the expanding electric charging infrastructure, electric equipment is becoming increasingly viable. The technology offers a more straightforward transition path compared to hydrogen, which requires the establishment of entirely new infrastructure and safety protocols. Government policies and incentives play a crucial role in the adoption of new technologies. Currently, the UK's policy framework for hydrogen is evolving, with targets set for the coming decades. However, there is a lack of immediate, robust incentives specifically aimed at accelerating the adoption of hydrogen in the construction industry. Without clear policy support, construction firms may be reluctant to invest in hydrogen technology. So in light of these challenges, the prospect of hydrogen becoming the fuel of choice for demolition and construction equipment in the short to medium term appears unlikely. Significant advancements in infrastructure, economic feasibility, technology, safety protocols, market development and supportive policies are required before hydrogen can be considered a viable alternative to conventional fuels in the construction industry. Until those issues are addressed, stakeholders may find it prudent to focus on more immediately deployable solutions, such as battery electric technology, to achieve environmental and operational objectives. And just one final point on all of this. A lot of the promise of hydrogen hinges upon the UK's ability to put in place a hydrogen network up and down the country. Are you seeing anything in our present government that suggests that such a project would be in safe hands, that it would be delivered on time, and that the whole thing won't be outsourced to the Chinese? There's my thought. Now, you know, I love me a bit of tech. I would like to think that we will adopt hydrogen in the fullness of time, but is it viable? My personal belief is not yet, and not for quite some time. So over to the chat. What have we got here? Mick says, had a discussion with a few of the oldies yesterday. Their son's still in the game. What I mentioned to you yesterday, Mark, there is a lot of tight-ass bodies walking about. Yes, I bet there is. I'm watching it with eager eyes. Jude Mullin. Good morning, Jude. Thank you very much indeed for being here. And I have to say, as it stands today, I'm in complete agreement. Trying to fix a problem with a bigger problem. And doesn't that actually encapsulate everything that we seem to do in terms of sustainability? That really we are so quick to, this will be cleaner. Yeah, will it? And what about the knock-on effect? I am a fan of electric machines. I'll be the first to admit it. But we haven't fully answered the questions there. You know, what happens to those batteries at the end of their working life? Yeah, fix a problem with a bigger problem. What do we got here? Jim Turner says, you can't store electric without batteries. Batteries take a lot of pollution to produce. Hydrogen can be produced in remote areas and transported or piped in an environmentally friendly way to the masses, then stored in a green way through tanks that last for years. Hydrogen is the fuel that's environmentally friendly. Batteries have their place, but not as a replacement for the internal combustion engine. I agree with every single word of that. But our aim is to be a net zero by 2050. By the sound of it, we're unlikely to really see any real progress on that hydrogen network until 2050. We've got it, as I said in that spiel, we've got exactly the same situation with the nation's energy or electrical system. We decided fossil fuels are bad. Let's close all the power stations. Let's decommission them. Let's knock them all down because we're going nuclear. Where are the nuclear facilities that are going to replace them? They're still being built. Dan Cullen says, I can't see electric machines being reliable in the UK. As if remote working, you need a Jenny, hydrogen possibly. UK is not fully equipped for electric vehicles machines. They are more polluting than fuel. It's a good point, but I still firmly believe, if done correctly, I still believe that electric is a step in the right direction. And I've said this before, and I seem to be like a voice in the wilderness as far as this is concerned. One of my concerns with this is we have a solution today that can reduce emissions. I'm not saying that it's a perfect fix. Electric machines, battery electric machines, are not a perfect fix. They are not a complete fix. But rather than adopting those today and taking a step towards net zero, the entire industry, and for that matter, a lot of the country, seem to be sat on their hands because there is the promise of hydrogen. Even if what, and I research that because that's what I do, we are 2025 now. Can anyone, bearing in mind we've got another 4.5 years of the incumbent government, can anyone really see us building the requisite hydrogen network in the next 25 years? Can you? Because I can't. And I was thinking about this, and Jim made the point, yes, you can pipe hydrogen about the place, much as we do today with natural gas. I wasn't around when the natural gas network was installed, but I would imagine, and I can't even begin to imagine. I can't imagine what a huge undertaking that is. But if you've got to pipe hydrogen up and down the country, from John O'Groats to Land's End and all points in between, and we're saying that in a nation that can't even see through the construction of a railway from London to Manchester. It's going to stop at Birmingham because we bottled it. Can anyone really see that? Because I'm struggling to at the moment. I really am. And it's not just an anti-Labour jibe, like shooting fish in a barrel at the moment. But I mean, I was referring obviously to HS2 with the cancellation of the railway. That happened under a Tory government. They saw the rising cost and the rising cost and the rising cost, and in the end they just went, no, we'll sod that for a game of soldiers. We'll blow it out. And one of the concerns with that is, much as we've done with some of our nuclear technology, if we are unwilling to invest ourselves and build it ourselves and build that infrastructure ourselves, there is a temptation to outsource that to, say, the Chinese. And we already know that the Chinese are partly building some of our nuclear facilities, but there is no real hard and fast cap on the amount that they would charge us for our energy. So what if they did exactly the same goes with this? Yeah, well, not a problem. We'll pop along. They say in a Chinese accent, we'll build you a hydrogen network. No problem at all. How much is it going to cost? Well, we'll worry about that when we get to the end of it. And you can just see a Keir Starmer going, that sounds like, the Chinese. They're a good bunch. Love their fried rice. What could possibly go wrong? As the sun goes, and naturally gas may blow your ass, and we're all going to hell. What song is that? Jim Turner says, let's not kid ourselves here. We are bred to be consumers, so they need to sell us battery machines before they say they are bad and say we have to go over to hydrogen. The world works on trade. Nobody on the top table are really bothered about the planet. All they need is consumers, and consumers are being generated through environmental legislation. It's a cynical take, but it's quite hard to argue with. It is quite hard to argue with. And when you want to find an answer, follow the money. Yeah, I do. But I do wonder with that. Because given the take-up of, obviously, Tesla have turned the automotive sector on its head, and all power to them. I'd love a Tesla, make no bones about it. I think Elon Musk is a complete butthole, but I'd quite like one of his cars. But when you look at construction equipment, the adoption of electric construction equipment has been very, very, very markedly underwhelming. But you've got companies like Volvo and Komatsu and Hyundai and JCB still pushing the electric agenda and pushing it very, very hard. Natural gas used existing pipes. You just changed the burners. Is that right? I did not know that. So, I mean, on that basis, could we push hydrogen through those same natural gas pipes? My guess is probably not. You don't want a mix of those, do you? Because, well, I mean, I guess they're both highly flammable. But I mean, what is even entailed? You know, if we do have a plant or multiple plants that are producing green hydrogen, let's say we dedicate the entire Orkneys to the production. Sorry, Orkneys, but the production of green hydrogen. What does it take to get that hydrogen from the Orkneys to Plymouth? I don't know why Plymouth particularly wants it, but what would it take? Are we talking about installing a completely new pipe network, cutting swathes through the countryside? You know, huge. I mean, if we're talking huge amounts of excavation, obviously, you know, given what this show is all about, happy days. You know, lots and lots of excavators going out and doing their things, and lots of people getting employment out of it. But if that's what we're talking about, think about that. What is that? 500 odd miles, just a straight line from the Orkneys to Plymouth, thereabouts, plus all the branches that go off it, plus the other facilities that are making it, plus the storage. I'm looking at the UK in 2025 and wondering if we actually have the capabilities. Genuinely. And think about the HS2 as an example, because we're talking, you know, mass excavation again. In order for HS2 to go ahead, it wasn't just a case of planning. It had to achieve royal assent first, and then it had to go through planning. Planning had to be agreed and approved. There had to be countless compulsory purchase orders. Only then, and only then, could the work begin. As it stands at the moment, we have this aim for a hydrogen-fueled future, and none of that thing that I've just described actually exists. None of it. There is a promise of a hydrogen future. Keir Starmer has mentioned the fact that he wants a hydrogen network, but as it stands today, nothing. I mean, in absolute truth, the only people that are doing anything really and truly in terms of hydrogen are the likes of JCB, who are making hydrogen-ready machines. Hyundai have done the same. I don't know quite what state they're at. Liebherr have done the same as well. I know Volvo are working in the background on hydrogen fuel cell technology. But as it stands at the moment, we have a promise, and we have the promise of some equipment. But the bit that joins all that up, i.e. the fuel, does not exist. And is unlikely to exist for what? 25, 30, 40 years? I mean, I'm sat here now. I mean, I'm 60 years old in a month. Am I ever actually going to see a hydrogen-fueled machine actually out at work? You know, where somebody has been out, not because it's a cool and funky thing to do. Somebody has been out and they have made a commercial decision. I do not want diesel. I do not want electric. I want a hydrogen machine because I now have the fuel source with which to run it. And I am now using a hydrogen machine. Am I ever going to see that in my lifetime? What we got here, mixes. A lot of pros and cons with electric vehicles. One I found interesting was the weight of the vehicles and the wear on the roads. Then go backwards, tyres, brakes, and the wear of the motors. BMW are pushing ahead with hydrogen. It's an interesting point. Obviously, we touched on the weight of the vehicles with Mike Keogh when we were talking about the very parlous state of the nation's car parks. BTE Plant Slash just joined us over on Instagram. Good morning to you, fellas. I think it's a good point. The other point I would make is BMW pushing ahead with hydrogen. There was a time, and I think this is still largely the case, there was a time when I always used to believe that construction equipment was usually somewhere between 5 and 10 years behind the automotive industry. So whatever the automotive industry was doing today in terms of technology, marketing, sales, everything, sooner or later we would catch on and we would follow. I think there's been a bit of an evening out of that, because some of the things I've seen the likes of Bobcat doing in terms of technology, I think we're actually, in some instances, even ahead of the car manufacturers. But I do think that BMW going for hydrogen, and they're not alone. Hyundai have gone down the same line, and I'm sure others are doing likewise. But think also about this. I'm saying about the creation of a hydrogen network and the opening up thereof. We've all seen the videos and the images. How long have we had electric vehicles or electric cars? And more specifically, how long have we had Teslas? What is it, a decade? Maybe a bit more? And yet, I have a regular stopping off point when I'm heading up north. I go up via the M40 and I get to about Oxford, pull off. There's a good service area there. I pop in for a cup of coffee because there's a Starbucks drive-through, get myself a chai latte, and then I drive out. And I drive out through queues of Teslas waiting to charge their cars. As much as I'd like a Tesla, I couldn't be doing that because I would be losing an hour or two a day every time I went on the road, which I can't afford to do. Are we also talking about that with hydrogen? Will the first tranche of hydrogen machines go out there? And if you're working within the City of London, you're fine and dandy because there's a hydrogen power fuel supply right there. But if you're working in the wilds of Essex or out near Ipswich or Norwich or Hull, are you going to have it? Or are we going to have queues of vehicles waiting to be fueled, charged? Jim Turner says, if they really wanted us to save the planet, they'd be making us grow our own food, minimum food miles, wool, fabric, timber houses, coal-fired power stations with carbon capture. But all that won't make the top table rich. It's all in-house and local. World trade is obviously bad for the environment, but it carries on and it fits the consumer business model. Big businesses hold on the planet's inhabitants. Yes, very true indeed. Very true indeed. If you come here expecting rainbows, unicorns, and safe spaces and political correctness, you're in for a rude awakening. What is that from? That rings a bell. What is that from? Don't know. So yes, there's my feeling. Now, I wrote that. I wrote that obviously to share here, but I also wrote that because we've got a new Future Fuels newsletter over on LinkedIn. Come back to LinkedIn in just a second. So if you follow me on LinkedIn, and if you don't, why the hell do you not? Go and have a look. If you have a look at my profile, you'll see there is a newsletter called Future Fuels. Subscribe. It doesn't cost you a damn thing, and we'll be delivering news directly to you. Speaking of LinkedIn, and this is really going off at a tangent. If anyone Jim, I know you spend a fair bit of time on LinkedIn. Have you noticed, and I've never noticed this with an industry sector before, I turn on, LinkedIn is constantly open on my machine. So I come in the morning and there is LinkedIn. And there is a breed of young ladies, and they all have very, very, tightly slicked back hair, loads of makeup, false eyelashes like this, and big pouty lips, and low-cut dresses and stuff. And all of them work in recruitment. Every single one of them, to the point where if I'm scrolling through and I see somebody, a girl, slick back hair, way too much makeup, big old set of lipstick lips, you can just guess. I bet she's in recruitment. Oh, look, she absolutely is. Yeah. Clint Eastwood again. Dying ain't much of a living, boy. Yeah, absolutely. Kelly's Heroes. Yeah, that wasn't from Kelly's Heroes. That's a Western one, right? I think. Yeah, there you are. Enough of all this. I don't know what that's got to do with the price of beans, but we'll be back tomorrow with more of the same. Hope to have your company then. Till then, everybody, do please try to stay safe. I don't know what we're going to be talking about tomorrow. I'm sure I can think of something. I say that every day. It gets to about 3 o'clock in the afternoon and I'm sat here thinking, I've got fuck all. But hopefully somebody will say something that will upset me enough to concentrate on it tomorrow. So until then, everybody, go and have a damn fine day. Mick says, my LinkedIn profile says retired. You'd be surprised how many I get. Yeah. I mean, I'm on a bit of a, I don't know what it is. LinkedIn since Christmas seems to have discovered me, so I've got lots and lots of people queuing up to be my new best friend, and so many of them. I'm self-employed. I've got no intention of taking a job because nobody would employ me, and yet still tapped up on a daily basis. Question of the day: they say marriage is made in heaven, but so is thunder and lightning. Again, Clint Eastwood. Yeah, I think Clint Eastwood could do a quotes show all his own. Actually. Maybe we'll do that one of these days. Anyway, everybody, go and have a fine and splendid day. I'll see you tomorrow for more of the same. Till then, have a good one. All the best.